mind that you aren't good enough, that you'll never be successful? If so, you're not alone. I've had those thoughts playing in my mind ever since I took the leap to become an entrepreneur. It's a dirty, dark secret that no one likes to talk about, as the glamorization of becoming an entrepreneur is shown in the media. I realized that in order to succeed, I needed help. We all do. So I decided to go all in on myself, spending thousands of hours in the trenches, reading, joining groups, listening to podcasts, hiring coaches to develop a bulletproof morning routine for success. Join me on my journey as together we build our morning fire to ignite our lives as entrepreneurs. My name is Jeff Wickersham, and this is the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. Welcome to the show. I am extremely excited to have special guest Sean Castrina on the show. Sean, welcome to the show.
It's great to be on the podcast.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us. So I always love to get into the present state, present moment before we kick things off, as well as get a short little burst of energy to get us going. So let's do 3 breaths. We're going to breathe in through 6, hold for 2, out for 7. Let's go ahead and breathe in. Hold for 2 and out for 7. Good. Another breath in for 6. Hold for 2. Out for 7. Final breath in for 6. Hold for 2 and out for 7. All right. Now that we're grounded, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. We're going to get some energy going. I'm going to yell boom at the top of my lungs, pound my chest. You're encouraged to do the same in 3, 2, 1, and boom. There you go. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So let's dive in. So morning habits, rituals, routines, I feel like they are a critical piece to our day, right? How we start our day is typically how the day goes. Sean, what are a couple things you do first to start the day that sets you down that path towards success?
Yeah. First thing is I try not to let my feet touch the floor off my bed until I've gone through some gratitude.
Okay.
Because you don't know, once I walk down the steps and turn on my computer or look at my phone, the day could go to poop pretty quickly if you know companies and things of that nature. So before anything starts, the number one thing I try to do is get in the right state of mind before my feet hit the floor. And if you go through things of gratitude, that to me, that's just it's hard to be angry if you're if you're sharing gratitude. It's hard, so many things happen when you do that. So my number one thing that I try to do is, again, before my feet hit the floor, I try to express gratitude.
Okay. Love that. How long have you been practicing that?
At least a decade.
Nice. What was the, did you have a point in time, if you've been doing it for a decade, when you first started, where you kind of felt that change, you felt something different throughout the process?
Well, I just noticed that, in owning businesses, that I could sleep really good, wake up, go open up an email that just would send my day into a turmoil, or wake up and there's a text sitting there, somebody quit, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, okay, wait, I've got to set the temperature of the day. Okay. So all these things can happen, but there are fundamental things that I'm grateful for, that no matter what happens when I start the actual day and, it's game time, will not alter what I'm grateful for.
I love that practice. And that happens, I think, to so many people, right? Where they're checking the news or checking their email, checking their text messages, and something throws them off kilter. And then, since they're doing that first thing to start the day kind of follows that path, right? They're kind of in that negative headspace. So love that piece, and gratitude is a huge piece of my life as well. So share a little backstory about you as an entrepreneur, a little bit about your journey. And then I know we're going to dive into the entrepreneur's Bermuda Triangle and a couple other cool topics.
Yeah, no, I was in graduate school, dream job, working in the DC area, change in leadership, lost my dream job. I literally, like, in my brains, like, I'll do this forever because I'm good at it and they like me. Well, some people like me, and some people thought I was good at it. But when you bring in a new leadership change, they tend to bring in their new staff, just like a new, like coaches, if they change places. You can be a really good assistant coach, but the natural, what happens, new coach comes in, he brings in a staff that he's comfortable with. And so I was ignorant to that. And then I kind of woke up to that. And I was just like, you know what? I may work for somebody for a period of time, but at the end of the day, I'm going to own my own thing.
Okay.
Like I definitively knew, and you say arrogance or whatever. Generally, successful people have a level of self confidence, and
Right.
people that are insecure view it as arrogance. Confident people just go, "Wow, he's confident." So I knew that I wasn't going to make anybody else rich. I knew I was fairly confident that I could make myself, that I could do it myself, that I
Okay.
could find an opportunity, take action on it, and kind of let's see how this plays out.
Awesome. So that happened, right? Change in
Yeah,
leadership. You
yeah,
kind of lost that role. What was the evolution
yeah,
then to going out on your own,
yeah.
and really what were the
Yeah.
next steps?
So
Cuz
I took a job selling insurance. If
okay.
you got halfway decent articulate skills and you have, have that type of personality, and I did really well for the company that I worked for in during that first year. And I would go to sales meetings on Monday, and it's where I first got introduced to really nice cars because most people that are in sales, and insurance do really well. First time that I saw Mercedes and things of that nature. And I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if you could get your car cleaned? This is really dumb. This is 30 years ago.
Okay.
What if you could clean the cars in the parking lot? Like, I know we laugh at that now, but at that time, that was like, wow, you would do that. And
Right.
so I have never cleaned a car in my life. I still haven't cleaned a car, but I started a detailing company while I had the insurance business called Waxmaster Mobile Detailing. I still remember the toll free number 1-888-933-3824, which is toll free. We detail is what the last number is equal. And the rest is history. Literally, that created the blueprint for everything I've done since then. One is that I start businesses that I'm not necessarily passionate about. I just know that the marketplace is.
Okay.
So I always say passion is an entrepreneur's mistress. Okay. You need to find something that the marketplace wants. Just because you like, running doesn't mean you open up a running store. Okay. It may work in Oregon, but it may not work in a city of under 60,000 that's cold 8 months out of the year. You get the general idea. So
Right.
it kind of created that blueprint that, okay, I find businesses that the marketplace wants.
Okay.
And then I go from number two is I don't have to do the business. Like I never did the detailing and I've never done a business since then. So that's the other model I use. I find other people to do the work. I'm always working. I mean, I was doing the E-Myth before the E-Myth was the E-Myth.
Okay.
To me, how can you scale if you're trapped doing
Right.
everything? To me, that
Right.
was just time management. It just made sense from the beginning that if I'm out cleaning cars personally, well, how many cars can I clean?
Right.
I mean, to me,
That
that hit me. I was in my early 20s, and that hit me. So, so that kind of set in motion, kind of the blueprint that I view in businesses. I like service companies,
okay.
and there's a general rule, and it's kind of worked. I wouldn't I wouldn't be in a business that competes with Amazon, competes with artificial intelligence, or competes with software. I mean, that's
Gotcha.
hard to compete in those three. But a human being still does things that none of them can do. You try, go get an oil change, go get a dent pulled out of your car, get your gutters cleaned. Well, you can go all the way down the line. I can run off 100.
Right.
And nobody can compete with those, and there's still very high labor jobs that the margin is substantial and you could get really rich, and I have off of service companies.
And I would say you mentioned service companies, kind of general contractor,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
types.
yeah.
That,
And it could
that,
be
that-
anything. It could be accounting, it could be
right.
it's endless what you could do. Anything where there's a level of interaction that is required. I own a large digital marketing company, so it's not even in the contracting space. And the difference is that we sit down in front of our small business owners.
Hmm.
That's now software could do it, but software cannot sit down at the end of the month and say, hey John, listen, we did an $1,850 ad buy last month on Instagram. This is what worked, this is what didn't work. Let me take you
Right.
through what worked, why it worked. Let me take you through what didn't work and why it didn't work and how we're changing it. A spreadsheet, nothing's ever going to communicate that. in a way that the owner will understand it. And that's why our digital marketing company does so well.
Right. You've got that personal touch there.
Absolutely. We explain to you what works, what doesn't work, and where we're going to pivot and why.
Makes total sense. So the entrepreneur's Bermuda Triangle, explain that a
Yeah.
little bit, what that means to the audience.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so cool to be an entrepreneur, and it can make up for so many. It could be, it could be it could be an entrepreneur for a lot of reasons, not all of which are good. Okay, and I don't think an entrepreneur is for everyone. Okay, there's a lot of guys who made or gals who made a lot of money as employees. Sharon Sandberg, Facebook, she's worth about 1.7 billion. Okay, Steve Ballmer worth about 54 billion. Employee Tim Cook, of all three employees. So there are different routes to get to success. And entrepreneurship is not for every single person. I would never have the companies I have if I didn't have extraordinary employees. So understanding that, I just think it's important that we kind of just, watch something on YouTube and we're all of a sudden going to be an entrepreneur. It can be tough. These are the three biggest mistakes I see entrepreneurs make. And this is what I say, the Bermuda Triangle. You fly inside this, it's over.
Okay.
First thing is that you're the only person, like, you have this idea and you do not test it. You run it by your family. Oh, Johnny, you're going to do so great. Oh, Mary, I think that's great. You run it on Facebook, but there's no level of testing. Go into a restaurant of more than 30 people and just kind of interrupt a few tables and just say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about starting this business and here's what it is. Just tell me, what's your first thought of it?
Right.
I think it'd be great. I'm being serious. Number one is it help your communication skills, and you need those to be an entrepreneur, and that's a whole nother subject. But get feedback. Just get some feedback on whether you think whether this can work outside of your own head.
Right.
So we tend to take big action on ideas that are not tested, and thus they fail miserably in the marketplace.
Gotcha.
Number two is we like to start friends, and we hire friends and family because they're comfortable and they're not going to be telling you what they need to be telling you. Okay. Friends and family are great. They're great as friends and family. I don't think they're great, as employees and business partners necessarily. Now, you always have the great two college buddies who started the business. That defies everything. Okay.
Right.
Because it's just two people doing the work of one and they figure it out and it's fun. I love that story, but I don't know if I'd like it in my 30s. Okay, when I'm starting a business, I want to hire the best people to do the job.
Right.
Pre-25, I want to do something that's fun. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I rinse, repeat, and go take a job. There's nothing at stake. And so the law of two people works. It's momentum. I don't discount that. But as a general rule, hiring is a serious skill, and you need to hire good people that can help you grow your business. I mean, that you're like that first hire, you hire a friend or a family. That might be the most critical hire you make.
Right. So
And
true.
so you make a bad hire from the beginning, and then third is you're just a schmuck and you can't fix a schmuck. I mean, some people have no leadership ability, no communication skills, no follow through, no resilience. They're not competitive. Nobody likes them. So they can't surround themselves with a talented enough team to grow anything. Everything about them is missing massive personal qualities that are required to grow a business. And like I said, you can't fix those. You can't fix it. I mean, we've all met people we would never work for, right? We've met people that we never go to dinner again with. We've met people that we would never invest $1 with, right? I mean, we have people that we love, but we're like, oh, I love Jimmy, but I wouldn't give him a dime, right? Because he's jumping from one idea to the next. Every family reunion, he's got something new he's working on.
Right. It's
not. I mean, this is what 90% of businesses fail by the end of the decade. Mm-hmm. 1 out of every 2 fail. With statistic, I've seen it range from 2 years to 5 years, but the statistics are pretty daunting. They're very daunting. So what makes you think everybody can do it? I find that to be funny. Like, what makes you think everybody can do it if the statistics are so unbelievable? Only 9% of all small business owners make more than $100,000. I mean, the statistics are daunting. So
they truly are, and I appreciate you sharing that Bermuda Triangle that you have. So Well, obviously, some people aren't cut out to be an entrepreneur, right? They don't check those boxes. Why should everyone think like an entrepreneur?
Yeah, because it'll make you. I shared with you 3 people that have net worths of over $1 billion.
Right.
Sharon Sandberg solved the Facebook problem of how to monetize ad space. Okay, I mean, she was the one who figured out, okay, this is really great. You got all these people, but are you making any money? She figured that problem out. Steve Ballmer started out as what you call Bill Gates' personal assistant, was an MBA Stanford grad. Uh, Solve a problem within your company. Find an area of revenue. Do 2 things. Do 2 things, and you'll always be at the top of the food chain. I'm not saying you'll get there tomorrow, but do these couple things, and you'll be the one getting paid a lot. You'll be the one that you can leverage your employment position for a piece of the action, partnership, and/or profit. Just do these
Gotcha.
couple things, because this is what entrepreneurs do. Number one is entrepreneurs solve problems. They happen. We don't get paralyzed. We don't see who else is going to solve it. We look at it's a problem. We solve it. Number two is we look at problems and we look for opportunities. Okay, wow, this happened to us. We solved it this way. Maybe we have a way that we can solve this for other people. Maybe there's a niche. We're getting a demand for this. We hadn't quite thought about how we would offer it, but we've had so many customers ask us for it. Let's niche. Let me, hey, so and so, why don't we niche down our business? Why don't we create a division that offers this? Okay. So you solve a problem, and then you obviously, figure out a way to make money on a problem. And next is you're just generally looking for opportunities to grow profit. If you find ways for the company to make money, they're going to like you. They're going to like you. And then one other thing I tell people, if you're under the age of 30, I'll tell you how to get a raise. Really easy. Every single week, go to your direct supervisor, whoever that person is. We'll call that person Mary for right now and say, Mary, I just took a job here. Is there anything I can do this week that would make your week easier? Give me one responsibility that if I could take off your desk, you'd be happy. They're going to say no the first week. You're going to come back the second week and offer to do it. And they're going to ask you to do something. And every week you're going to keep doing that. And those responsibilities based on your follow through are going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger. And who do you think they're going to promote a year from now? Who do you think Mary's going to take with her every place she gets? If she ever gets another job, who do you think she's taking?
Right.
See, we all want something so fast that we're never willing to do. I always say every piece of success I've ever had took darn close to a decade. I saw, a tree starting to grow around year 5, but the fruit started falling off in abundance around a decade in.
Right.
And we want stuff so fast. And I'm like the entrepreneurship thing. I'm like, why don't you try being an employee? Be the most valuable employee. Find out how an industry works. Figure out how you run a staff meeting, how you don't run a staff meeting, how you manage people, what works and what doesn't work. What do you think you could learn in 2 years if you were just an employee, a great employee for 2 years? I can tell you what would happen. Number one is you'd be offered a lot of raises if you did what I just told you to do. Number two is you would actually see how a business operates and how it shouldn't operate. Maybe you're going to see just the opposite.
Right.
Okay. But you're going to understand an industry better, understand what clients typically want, how to solve problems with clients. There's so much you can learn as an employee that will prepare you to be a great entrepreneur. And I think sometimes we just want to skip, something so simple as just being an employee for a few years and learning.
Yeah, no, I think that's powerful, right? Is success has taken you a decade in any of those areas. And
Yeah.
two, I love that. Hey, go to your supervisor and say, hey, what's one thing that I can take off your plate that will help you throughout the week, and do it over and over again. And it's that consistency, it's that tenacity piece. And eventually you're going to have this resume of work you've done and help you've offered and then provided to your supervisor. To your point, they're going to want you on their team wherever they're at, whether it's within the company or with a
And
different
what
company.
about the reference they're going to give you? And not only that, it builds you, it just, there's nothing you can lose on that. That's such a discipline. I joke, there's one muscle that I joke about. I try to do every week. I try to do it every day, but I've gotten old enough where I've been able to delegate a lot of things I don't want to do anymore. But
Okay.
every week I have I don't want to do it on my list. Whatever it is, it's something only I can do. And I do it every week. And it's called, I don't want to do it. Okay, it might be a conversation with an employee where I'm basically letting them know that the horizon they don't want to see is getting ready to come if something changes. Or it might
Gotcha.
be cutting back on a contract or what we're paying them. Whatever it is, it's something uncomfortable that I'm not really looking forward to, that I'm not, but I got to do it. But I got to do it. And I always want to keep that muscle work. I don't want that muscle to ever have atrophy.
No, I love that. I do something very similar where it's an uncomfortable thing to do each week,
Yeah.
and stepping into that uncomfortable zone, because that's the path to growth as a person, and then growth either in your business or in your career. Financial growth is going to come through those uncomfortable or things that you don't necessarily want to do, because what happens to 99% of people? They don't do them, and then they stay stuck. They stay in that same place over and over again.
Yeah. And it separates. Even my business partners would say, Sean does stuff that none of us want to do. Like if there's a client, a real mess that nobody wants to step in front of that bullet, I got it. I mean, I'm always going to take that bullet, whatever the outcome is, where they're dodging it. They think it's going to go away. And I always tell them problems never go away. I tell my partners that all the time. You think they're going away. They're never going away. They're just being quiet right now and getting ready to erupt a week from now. Just because you didn't
Right.
hear from that client for a few days, they have not gone away. I assure you, they have not gone away.
Yeah, and as you do it, you're flexing that mindset muscle,
Yeah.
right? You're building it. It's like so many people hit the gym, but we're not getting those reps in related to mindset or courage or confidence, all those pieces. So love that, Sean. So where can people find you if they want to look you up and give you a follow?
Yeah, go to SeanCastrina.com, my website. You'll get a free book there, and we do a once a month free coaching call. It's really good. As you can tell, I talk fairly fast, but I teach a 15 to 20-minute lesson that will definitely help you grow your business. There's no cost. It's yours. I don't try to sell you anything. And so, yeah, just go to SeanCastrina.com. You can find me on Instagram as well. And but that would be the best way if you want to figure out how to grow your business. That's my sweet spot. And of course, on the 10-minute entrepreneur podcast. I got the logo right in front of me, literally sitting right in front of me, and my brain completely shuts off. I happen to be the host of the 10-minute entrepreneur podcast. There you go.
That's awesome.
God's way of keeping me humble,
There,
making me slip up, something like that.
listen, life's not perfect, right? And
No.
we just got to keep pushing through and rolling through. So, Sean, appreciate you being on the show.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. Rise, fight, love, repeat. Get after it, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. You now have the knowledge, but without action, knowledge is useless. Choose to act. Choose to step into your greatness and unlock that hero inside of you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review so more entrepreneurs can hear this message. If you absolutely love this podcast, which I hope you do, then share it up with someone you know who might see benefit from it. Become that beacon of change, and together we can impact the world.